Good morning, everyone. Just a few minutes and we are beginning this live streaming. Good morning, everyone. We are coming to you live via Facebook streaming, via YouTube streaming, and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this live streaming. Vigyan, Bhairav Tantra, more on initiation and inward and inner transformation. More on initiation and inner transformation. There are certain questions. The first question is, I have practiced meditation on and off since last 3 years. I realized a lot of things, but somehow I am not getting in that groove yet, getting regular. On some days, experience is awesome. When meditation blossoms, the inner joy begins to come to the surface. To say that I have been practicing meditation on and off, realized a lot of things. Meditation, when it blossoms, the mind dissolves. As you are, the mind is the master. But after fruition in meditation, mind becomes a device that you use it. When mind becomes master, it is a source of disturbance. When mind becomes a device, it helps you. I have to speak on the questions. These questions are random. There is no written script anywhere to respond to these questions, or I have anything written. I have to use mind. Just as in order to have this live streaming, I am using a certain device. For Facebook streaming, I am using my iPhone connected to the live streaming. Through this, message goes to those people, or those people are connected through the Facebook. Then through the iPad, I am connected to YouTube streaming. There are certain people who are connected through the YouTube streaming. and the videos that remain on YouTube are easy to discover, whereas whatsoever happens on the Facebook, it does not remain on the screen for more than 10 seconds. Then there are people who are connecting through Skype. So my MacBook is being used for that purpose. And also a part of the screen of the MacBook is being used to provide the questions which I have to write it out. Computer can give is a mind developed by the human mind to assist him in doing many things. Many things have been devised like Excel, Windows. If you are using the Apple technology, it is a different mechanism. It helps you in your accounting. It has the templates for many things, for your letterhead, for this and that. So in the same way, when meditation blossoms, your mind becomes a device which can be used for many things. Now, as such, I have mentioned earlier, mind have 4 aspects. Mind, one corner of the mind is memory. So at the time, just as the computer has a device, it has certain things in memory, you can bring it onto the screen in order to process what you are doing. Then intellect, that it is capable of operating your functions, and then it has a desktop which is RAM, readily available memory, which is the space that is available to process your information. So when meditation happens, mind develops as a mechanism which can help you in many things easily, because the mind is not polluted, it is not a master. So in that situation, and then its processing unit, like when you go and buy a laptop, you are looking for the 5th generation devices, high RAM, so it helps you to process the information faster. Deeper you go into the meditation, this helps and operates like that. You have to introspect, because when we talk about meditation, we do not really understand what meditation is. And we consider concentration as meditation. Concentration is a totally different device. If I put it this way here, there is a torch light. It is a source of light. An electric bulb, it is also a source of light. The bulb is unfocused. Torch light is focused. It's light, you have to focus it wherever you need it. So sometimes you need that also. But the bulb, the moment it is lit, its light is unfocused, it remains within that area where it is lit. But if there are certain corners where the light cannot reach, like the sides of the cupboards, under the table, and certain other places, so there you can use the other device of concentration to carry on your work. Maybe you can have 2 bulbs. So this we have to understand. And when someone says that some days the experience is awesome, so when meditation happens, mind dissolves. There is no one to say anything. You become dumb. You have eaten a sweet fruit, and it is the expression on your face, the aura around you manifests on your face and expresses the inner joy. When a flower blossoms, its beauty and fragrance manifests on the surface, and it doesn't need to say anything. The moment it happens, it brings joy. This was in relation to the first question. The other question relates to initiation. What is initiation? Initiation as such, as an individual, you have few layers. Conscious layer, unconscious layer, subconscious layer. During the day, you are operating. Certain things you understand, certain things which are not understood, they are recorded in unconscious. And nearly 3/4 of your mind capability is subconscious and unconscious. And conscious mind, it is something like this. You have seen a cow, it eats food quite faster, and then it keeps it in a space, and after it has consumed, it brings from that space a little bit of food and continue to chew. And then the process of digestion, the process of digestion takes place. If we learn the capacity, learn the ways and means to bring things out of the subconscious or unconscious and make it conscious. So subconscious and unconscious are the dark areas. You are bringing the light. So when you come in the company of the Master, the journey from unconscious to conscious becomes easy. You look at the normal day-to-day life. Many times we react. We say things which are not necessary at the particular moment. A particular moment is in the morning, your wife, your mother had told you specifically. This goes on more between the spouses. Your wife has said, when you are returning from the office, pass through the supermarket and pick up these items. It may be that you have forgotten. Maybe you have left the office late. Maybe you reached to the supermarket and you did not get the parking, or something or the other. You did not bring the item which has been requested. What immediately goes on? The unconscious comes to the surface, unwanted, and certain things are said which are not necessary at that moment. It could have been, if something that is needed is very urgent, it could be said that take a cup of tea, relax for a few minutes, and just before the closure of the supermarket, you can visit and pick up that item. Or it can be said, we can leave it, we can manage it today and tomorrow we can. But in most of the cases, the kind of reaction comes in which is totally unwanted. This naturally comes. A deep understanding is required at that moment, and initiation helps in that process of bringing those dark areas consciously into the light area, just as the cow brings a certain amount of food. Because when she has to eat, she has to remain standing and continue to take the food from the bin where it is kept. But when she has consumed and accumulated the food within in a space where it has to be preserved, what she does? She sits down, she is relaxed, she brings out a certain amount of food from that, and the Hindi word is jugali. She takes out a certain amount of food, and I have seen it comes from the neck area, it comes to the mouth, and then she continues to chew. When it has been chewed properly, then it goes into the stomach area. Now, when you come in the company of the master, the moment you come to the master for certain reasons. First of all, you may have known about the master because your father has been going there, or someone. So you are attracted to the master and you go there. Or you test the master, just as when you go and buy a laptop. You see its features, you see its specifications, and then you decide to buy this particular device in relation to your needs. This is first initiation. With this, it is expected. This is not the end. It is that you are connected to the master. Your process of transformation has begun. But then there are other. So you have learned the process of bringing the dark corners of your mind, those parts of the memory which has been troubling you all the time, or because of those memory or experiences there are bodily movements or epileptic movements. So slowly and slowly you are bringing it to the light and processing it yourself. So in that the words of the Master becomes very useful for you. This is then, if on your own you have learned the process of emptying the dark corners and bringing the light there, then the initiation is not necessary. When all the unconscious becomes illumined, then that state we call it as awakening. In the beginning it is an effort. You may remember sometimes, you may not, you may forget other times. You may remember that you do not have to react. You have to respond. There is a difference between the two. In that light, how it can happen. I had given an example when there was the funeral rite of Sheikh Brijmohan Lal was to take place. There were a large gathering. Some said it should be done according to the Muslim way, the others said according to the Hindu way. Lalaji's cremation was done according to Hindu ways, and Sufi Raghuvardaya Chachaji's cremation was done according to Muslim ways. When I mentioned, someone said, but I am not Omkarnath, meaning that you doubt your capabilities. It is erroneous. You carry the same seed that a Buddha carries. The seed is there. You can allow that seed to blossom by providing the right environment. So initiation helps, the first initiation helps you to provide a right environment for the seed to sprout and its journey to begin. The seed, the soil is prepared, the seed is planted. So this is the first initiation. When you start up your journey in the commune or within the energy field of the Master, for that I will come in the process on certain things. You can connect to a Master without being in his company physically. So when this happens, you have learned the process. When you know you have the same seed as Buddha has, the same way you were conceived, I was conceived. It is said according to Sufi tradition, in the battle of Karbala, Holy Prophet's teeth was broken. There was a particular disciple of the Holy Prophet who was far away from there and would never met him. As this was happening, he felt that the teeth of the Holy Prophet is broken. He took a stone and broke that teeth. Then the unconsciousness surfaced and he thought maybe this is not the teeth that broke. So he broke another teeth. And slowly he broke all the teeth. And that moment, awakening happened to him. When I was growing, Sufi Omkarnath had told me, because my grandmother remained in the background and she brought her son into the forefront. So he has told me, if you want to progress in life, you should read and chew the biography of great men who have attained something, because their life, the way they have progressed, will help you to make your own thoroughfare. It is an inspiration. If you have read Buddha or Lalaji, you will know under these circumstances how Buddha will react. Do I have to respond like a Buddha, or I have to respond like a Buddha mooncalf, the stupid? Buddha is the stupid and Buddha the awakened. Slowly and slowly, when you begin to practice, you will know, in this particular circumstance and situation, Lalaji would have responded this way. When I spoke on Vigyan Bhairav Tantra and identification, there was a question. Gurdjieff said identification is sin, but the sutra says you must identify. When you identify unconsciously, it is a sin. Identify yourself with a flower. When I say identify yourself is one word, and it has, when you synthesize, it has to your self. Self means the innerness, and yourself means the outer dimension. You immediately understand. I also read this. You also heard it. Those who heard, and that the question came in yourself. You understood as a composite one word. But I understood it, identify yourself. Yourself means the outer dimension, and when you say yourself, means the inner dimension. You have to identify your inner self with that of the flower. So what you learn, the autobiography of a flower, when the seed is planted, seed is planted, initiation has happened, it is allowed to grow, and time to time it is being taken care of. Then the seed begins to blossom, and it is growing on the same flower bed. There are many other different flowers. Each one has a different capability, but the rose plant is not bothered about marigold or chrysanthemum. It continues to bring all that is within its womb onto the surface. Although it grows amidst the thorns, but it has no effect of thorns. Thorn means the problems. You say, or the impediments. I cannot meditate because of this, of that, and so. I cannot attend to these sessions for one reason or the other. It is, why do I have to speak? Krishna tells Arjun in the 3rd chapter, Name partha asti trishilokeshu kinchana. O Arjun, I have nothing to gain in the 3 universes. There is nothing for me to gain. By talking to you, what do I gain? I do not get any money. I have to arrange the most effective device so that the message reaches to you crystal clear. I have to make my living, work for that. He says in the 2nd stanza, I continue to work ceaselessly because men follow my path. Someone imitates me, someone follows my path, and that's the reason that I have to continue to act. So this rose is growing. It does not bother about impediments. You would have heard at this moment a couple times I coughed because there was a little, looked like something needs to be cleared from the throat. But that impediment did not change the energy field, the flow of the words. So the flower, the rose is growing on its own. Its only concern is to bring out its beauty and fragrance onto the surface. Now, after the first initiation, if the master feels the another initiation is needed, it is done. But then the times have changed. Once a seeker asked Chachaji, Sheikh Raghuvar Dayal, how often do I have to come to you physically? Chachaji said, once in a month. The person said, if it is not possible once in a month, then once in 6 months. If not once in 6 months, then at least once in a year. And if it is not so, the person asked, Chachaji said, then forget about spirituality, and continue to make your living. Certain things cannot be done through the first initiation. So the physical presence is important. During the time when Lalaji and Chachaji and Brij Mohan Lal were, most of the disciples were within the country. They came from different cities. So what used to happen? First of all, Chachaji, one of his disciples said, Chacha, that is what popularly he was known as, I have bought a garden. I would like you to bless this garden by your presence. And it was arranged that the people will gather in that garden and the meditation will take place. Then one day, Chachaji asked his son Sufi Brij Mohan Lal, every year in the month of February, it is the birth anniversary of Lalaji. So he started celebrating it. So once in a year, an opportunity is created. Just as I have created an opportunity based on my convenience and for that of the others, that Saturday is not a working day, Sunday is not a working day, and Monday was started because one of the person had began to ask the questions, and Saturday and Sunday is my talk session, and Monday was the day respond to the questions. But finally that person does not come anymore. So these 3 days were chosen to create the meditation session through live streaming. You are listening to me live, but I am not listening to you. But the devices that we have, it is easier even for the people who are living far away, for whom it is not possible to bear the expenses of coming to the Master, even at least once in a year. They can connect through this way, or through the devices of Skype. You can have a live communion with me, or through the Facebook, the devices that are available on Facebook. It is important. I have made this opportunity available for the people, for the seekers from far and wide. Then, first of all, Chachaji started an annual gathering where for 2 or 3 days the people from different places, they will come, stay together and remain within the commune of the Master. They can have the physical association, can ask their personal questions or anything. And that time, if the need arises, the master used to initiate whoever was on the borderline. Because just as people living in different countries, it is not possible for them to visit. So people who are living in different cities within the country, it was not possible. So at least once in a year they get an opportunity to visit. In addition to that, Chachaji and Sufi Brij Mohan Lal and even Omkarnath has created the opportunity. Certain disciples who had resources, what they did, so he will visit a particular city. So people within that city will get an opportunity to have a smaller communion, or people from the neighboring areas to come during 2 or 3 days and stay with the masters. So they have the financial capabilities to arrange for this kind of opportunity for the seekers who were not capable. Let's say, for example, the Delhi city. People from around the Delhi, not everyone was capable of bearing the financial expenses. So during this commune, when I had been in close association with my grandmother, many of the seekers who could not even pay for their traveling expenses, the monies used to be sent for them to come to the commune, to that annual gathering. So in that case, the person who has an opportunity, who have resources, he invites the master for a few days to stay at his place, and he will invite all the people in that city to take the advantage of that. This sort of opportunity were Chachaji and Sufi Brij Mohan Lal both followed, because Chachaji was not in government service. He was a freelance. The Arzi Naviz means he used to sit down outside the court. Someone comes and he has an application to be written or something, but the person is illiterate, cannot write. So he used to write. That was his job. Sufi Brij Mohan Lal worked as in the police office as head clerk. Sufi Omkarnath worked in this Central Bank of India, which is known as Reserve Bank of India. So every day from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock was his official day. Saturday was half day. So he could not do it during the time when he was in job, but when he retired, he started doing that service. I am in my own business. So there is one person who have the resources and the space. So he arranges for my visit at least 2 times for the year to Washington. So people from around the area or neighboring who can get an opportunity to come and stay for 2 or 3 days during the time that I stay in Washington and have the personal touch or anything. But under the present situation, the technology has developed that you can have that by way of Skype or by way of WhatsApp video or WhatsApp call. It is available without any charge once you have the device and you have the Wi-Fi, the wireless frequency. So these are also necessary because these nourishes and nurtures. And at the same time, how would the master respond to this particular situation? To say that I am not capable of that. Yes, at the moment I may not be, but with the association of the master and under his guidance, I will be able to, under the guidance and the protection of the gardener, the seed says, I will blossom, I will sprout, I will bring out the flowers on my surface and spread the beauty and the fragrance. The more if you have questions, number one, these live streamings are available on YouTube. You can connect to those and listen to these videos. But on Facebook, it remains only on the screen for not more than 10 to 15 seconds. You can save those which appeals to you and listen to them again and again. You can send me a question. When you send a question, it is a direct communion. Just as when you are connected to the inner self of the master, you have not, like my communion with Sheikh Omkarnath was that I do not have to ask the question and you do not have to respond to me, but let the message be communicated through your tawajjuh. Now there was a video that I had posted. Sufi Omkarnath says, and that's the end. There is 2 words, tawajjuh and faz. They are not same, they are 2 different things. What is the difference between tawajjuh and tawajjuh means, faz means the awakening, the light, the energy field. The energy field is there. The computer has everything. Tawajjuh means when it is like energy is sent directly to you. It is directly sent to you. That is tawajjuh, the master's. Tawajjuh means attention. My attention is towards you. Faz is generalized, which surrounds a master who has attained to awakening. And tawajjuh is the device through which he sends the wordless message. He creates a groove into you that in the beginning you need to have the word-to-word answer. I give you one example. When you are teaching someone, one is that you can give a direct answer to the question that the student had asked. The other is you prepare the student through the device, how to spell the words, how to solve the mathematical problems. You are simply giving the minute hints, and through the hints, you on your own learn. I recall when my father was teaching us, he would educe means to bring out from within you. This is what education means. Education comes from the word educe, to well up, to bring out from within you. He will never give direct answer to the questions. There is a mathematical problem. There is the different, like the forms of the word, the present, the past participle. He will never tell you. He will bring out of you. So tawajjuh is that device that creates the grooves into your consciousness, not the mind. Grooves into your consciousness, that it prepares to get the answers within. In the beginning, you need the direct answer, but a situation comes through your own efforts of studying the life of the master. How would he respond to this particular situation on his own? You do not run like a little child to the master, give me the answer for this. No. The maturity means you understand very well how will the master respond in this situation, and you know very well how to connect to me. There is a direct device between you and me. 3 devices are there. You can connect me through the Facebook live streaming by going to my Facebook page and on to the live streaming. You can go to my channel on YouTube and go on to the live streaming. Then there is other devices which I have not known, excelled, like during this pandemic, the virtual meetings, or through Skype, you can connect to me. So in this way, you have all these opportunities available to you that you can connect. So my response was that I do not want you to answer my questions directly, and I do not have to ask you anything directly. If a question arises in my mind, it should be responded without any words. In the life of Buddha, the Diamond Sutra. What is Diamond Sutra? It happened between Buddha and Mahakashyap. How did it happen? One day Buddha appeared with a flower in his hand on Avantapindika, where 1200 monks were gathered. Buddha remained standing, holding the flower in his hand. Looking at the flower, everyone responded in their own way. Or the thoughts appeared on the mind of individuals. But amidst all the monks, there was one, Mahakashyap. He remained quiet. He did not say anything. He was empty within. And the moment you are empty within, communication happens, communion happens. Buddha said, whatsoever can be spoken, I have spoken during my ministry for 45 years. Yet still the truth cannot be spoken. It can be communed only to an empty mind. The process of initiation is to empty your mind so that the wordless can be communed to you. Buddha said, whatsoever could be communicated, I had done. Yet still truth cannot be put into the words. I hand over that, passed on that to Mahakashyap. That was beginning of Zen. This is how the Diamond Sutra happened. So let there be a silent communion between me and the Master. If you aspire for that, it happens. So from the very beginning, I learned that I do not have to ask you anything. You do not have to respond to me. Let there be a channel of silent communion. This is Tawajjo. Through the method of Tawajjo, the wordless is communed to you. Through the wordless, Tawajjo is the wordless communion between the master and the disciple. Something begins to happen to the disciple. He understands the message of the master. What did Mahakashyap did? Buddha directed that Tawajjo, that attention towards Mahakashyap. Something began to happen within Mahakashyap. He understood, he decoded what is the current device. The telephonic device means there is analog and there is. So when I am speaking, it is in analog. But analog frequency moves in a different direction, and the other one that moves into the waves. So your device, whether it is a telephone, whether it is a mobile or anything, it converts the analog into digital. It in the form of waves, it reaches your system. Your system converts that into the analog, and you hear that. Through Tawajjo, the master communicates, creates the waves or grooves into your consciousness. And then you understand the message of the master. This is the significance of initiation and the communion. I have made the weekly opportunity for you to commune with me. Send the questions, and there is an open invitation for anyone who wants to communicate. You can send a message via Messenger, via Facebook, via YouTube, via Skype, and we arrange for a time, because people living in the different countries, like for India, the time is New York time, which is 9.5 hours behind Indian Standard Time. In Europe, it is 6 hours behind. So in that, we have to keep that in mind. Besides that, you are working, I am working, so we have to find an opportunity, find a device to create the live communion. And if you have an opportunity that you can visit the Master, it is good. But if it is not, no laments. These devices that are available, which should be used for your own inner transformation and development, rather than for other useless purposes. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, when we begin the sutras of Vijnana Bhairav Tantra, the stop techniques. Take care and do have a pleasant day.